right, we're now. So if you're watching this, this is a very overdue video that I promised Mike that I would make for him. So Mike Page has joined me. We're going to do a quick video of how I use Vim movements in PhpStorm and why I do that and the benefits I feel of it. Mike, and I'm putting together a talk, so I'm going to be taking notes this whole time. So enjoy that. Mike, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for doing this.
All right, let me get my notes set up. So I can actually geek out a little bit and show you like all the damn things I do with Vim. I mean, I can even start with this actually. Let me pull this over. Our PHP Ugly Discord turned me on to this app. It's called Obsidian, and it's just a note-taking app. But it has Vim bindings, and not only does it have Vim bindings, what I'm going to show you with PhpStorm is it allows me to customize those bindings for things. There's a couple keystrokes specifically that like years of muscle memory is very hard for me to break, and I'll explain that to you. Are you familiar with Vim at all? Do you use Vim?
I've been using NeoVim for about a year now.
Yeah.
I just find that I keep breaking my config and getting really frustrated because it takes me hours to work out what I've done wrong and get it back working again. So that's one of the reasons why I've thought about going back to PhpStorm. Because I did use that for a bit a while ago, and I quite like the fact that I can move around in Vim without going to my mouse. I have tendinitis in both of my wrists from bad technique from drumming for so many years. So I quite like the fact that I just stay on the keyboard the whole time I'm in Vim. So wanting to go to try PhpStorm again and get a feel for how you set it up with key bindings and what is possible within.
Yeah, that's great, man. Real happy to hear that. And like I said, I mentioned that I was going to do a presentation on this for Merge PHP, I think in November or December. So I need to get working on that anyway. So you're really helping me out, because I'd be really interested to see some of the questions. So like I said, I kind of what you said as far as your Vim config breaks a lot as you start to tinker with it. I tell people all the time, don't try to do my Vim setup. First thing, my Vim setups change dramatically over like a couple months, where I will I'll completely do away with the one I'm currently working with and start up a new one, which is what I explained to you today. So this on the right hand side here, this is Luna Vim. So I haven't had a lot of success starting from scratch, although I've tried a couple times, and I'll start to build up, and I get impatient because I've been using it so long with so many like bells and whistles that I get frustrated trying to get back to where I was, just because I want to build it myself. Lunar Vim is very opinionated. It's like the Laravel framework. It has very specific ways on how it likes to do things. It breaks a little bit from the norm. So I'm trying to get away from this. I'm moving over to Lazy Vim, which is now my default in Vim setup. Lazy Vim is nice because it has it's more like, I don't know, compliant. But also today my configuration is nowhere near as dialed in as my other configuration is. More specifically, the Luna Vim and the PhpStorm are the closest as far as configurations go. So that's why I told you I think I will just go ahead and stick with that.
Cool.
So,
the setup I use currently is pretty much the same as the one that Jess Archer teaches in her course on.
That is a great course.
I went through it. That when I really decided and I saw that come up, I thought, right, this is it. This is the time to really go into this and give this a go. So I gave it a go, and then one day last week, due to sort of work circumstances, I've been asked to delve into a bit of C# as well. So I thought, oh right, okay, so let's see if I can set my Vim up for C# as well. And I did a bit of research, tried to install something, and it just broke everything. I tried to go back, and no, I can't get that. I can't get it back to work. I'm just getting errors now, and I can't actually get any of the code completion working, IntelliSense working, anything. So that's why I went, right. I had some emergency work to do, so I went, right, just open up. I think I ended up opening up VS Code just to try and get something I could actually use to get some work out as fast as possible, and was just making a mess of it because I'm hitting things like J and K all the time, and I'm like, right, okay, no, stop. Let's see if we can get the Vim bindings working in here. And then that's when I went, do you know what? I've got this. I've been paying for a PhpStorm for a couple of years, and I really should try and start using it because I know John is a big fan of it, and the way you guys talk about it and the things that's possible with it. I felt, no, this sounds like it's easier. I'm not going to break it as much as I would do with a Vim setup. So that's why this week I kind of got back on you about this, because I thought I should probably try and get this working now. So I have had a little bit of a play, and I have been using it the last few days, but yeah, it's been interesting to see what is actually possible.
Yeah, so there's a real secret with the Vim setup. So you have the Vim extension installed for PhpStorm already? Yep,
got that installed.
So
the only change I've made so far is to change escape to JK, which is what I've been using for so long, and I kept trying to do it, and I'm just writing JK no, it's escape. And then I've got a keyboard that doesn't have everything marked on it, and because I never use escape, I couldn't remember which button escape was. So I then had to look that up and go, which one's escape? How do I get out?
That's the biggest key binding for me. So like I said, even over here in Obsidian, JK escape, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If I had let's set it clear, to escape this, JK, boom, and then I'm back in regular Vim mode, right? So yeah, JK. I can't tell you how many of my emails will have these random JKs through it that I miss when I send them. It's like a horrifying thing. So yeah, that's why I want to be. It's important for me. I love the fact that so many solutions have these Vim emulation offerings, and I'll use them, and that's where John and I differ. John is actually really good. Like he's never really tweaked his Vim, so he's just like a straight Vim person. He does all the standard movements, everything I'll do through a plugin or something. He just does through Vim, which is great. I wish if I had the opportunity to do it all over again, maybe I would probably go more down that path, just because everything translates for him. Like he can jump on a server and all his movements are the same. And me, I jump on a server and I have to remember, oh yeah, I gotta do Vim like a caveman again because I don't have all my little tweaks and stuff on here. I don't have my Vim RC file on here. But it is what it is. I do like my plugins. It does make life so much nicer. So yeah, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'll just stick with it. All right. So I think the biggest thing, actually, let me get back over here. We touched on this. Let's say plugins, right? Plugins. So obviously there's the Vim I forget what it's called. Idea Vim. Idea Vim is what it's called.
Yeah, Idea Vim, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a couple more I install, and I'll explain to you them what they are. Are they called extensions or plugins in Storm? Plugins, right? Are they plugins?
I think.
Yeah, they're plugins. They're plugins.
Yeah, they're plugins. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's always a thing, right? Trying to remember. All right, so let me see. If I just type in Vim, are you going to show me my Vim related ones? There's one specific. I typed in Vim in the wrong place. Isn't there a search here? Here we go. Vim. All right. So yeah, Idea Vim is the big one. Vim Sneak. I don't think I use this a lot. It's just another movement plugin. I'm not sure I use this a lot, but the one I do use. Oh, Witch Key. So Witch Key is, at first I did not like it. But I've kind of, so it's just like a HUD that pops up. So I have it in my basic Vim. So if I go here, if I just hit my leader key, which for me is the space bar. So that's another thing I do. I remap my leader key to the space bar. So I hit the space bar, and if I hit the space bar and don't type anything immediately after it, a little HUD will pop up like that. So this thing down here is called Witch Key. The cool thing about this is when you have a lot of key mappings and you can't remember, oh, how did I map that? This HUD will let you walk through it. So like, there's the P. If I do uppercase P, it'll just open up projects that I can switch to, right? I mean, it's just a nice thing because like there are certain like, keystrokes that you just don't use on the regular, and then when you need to reach for them, you're like, oh shoot, what is that keystroke? And you don't remember it. And it even has layers that you can go into. So like the lowercase g, you see it has an uppercase, has the plus get. That means that there's more to it. So hit G, shows you what else there is. G blame. So L is blame, right? Like that. Now if I can also do it. So now that I know that keystroke, I can do it. Let's move here. I can do it without the HUD. So I can just GL and it just comes up, right? The HUD is just a little cheat to let you say, okay, how do I get to this one spot? I have that over here. I don't think I can show it with the thing open, right? No, it won't show with the thing open. So that's just a good one to have if you're kind of trying to remember these keystrokes. The other one I have. Let's see, is this it? Wraps text with a specific column width. No, I don't even think I use this one. The other one I use a lot is it's called Surround. Vim multi-cursor. Idea Vim multi-cursor. I don't use that either. Maybe Surround is part of Idea Vim. I'll explain to you what that is in a second. So the cool thing about Idea Vim is that it actually pulls in other Vim plugins that they see people commonly use in the wild, and they just make it part of their base install, which is cool. So one of those, if I come up here, all right, so let's go here. You see how, let's see, what would be a good thing to do? Yeah, let's go here. How Code is Poetry is their quotation marks. So I can do change surrounding boom boom, and now they're single ticks, right? So I don't have to go anywhere to do. And the really cool thing about it is I don't even need to be in there. I can be over here and say change surrounding quotes to single quotes, and then it finds the first pair of quotes and then changes them to single quotes. So that's kind of cool. I like that. So that's something that is also over here. So if I can be way over here and just go change surrounding quotes to single quotes, same thing, right?
Nice.
It's very slow. You can be anywhere. You can be anywhere inside the double quotes, or you don't even need to be inside the double quotes at all. And even though there's double quotes inside a single quote, I can come over here and do the same thing. Change surrounding single quotes to double quotes. Boom. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I use that a lot. That's one of my favorite little. Over on the Vim side, that's a separate plugin, but I think it's one of the base Vim things all together. So yeah, so let's see, where should we start? You know what? Let's go. I have another tab open. Let's do this. All right, I'm going to show you the real power of Idea Vim that I'm not sure if a lot of people know about it, but it's one of my favorite things. So let's go. Where is it? I think it's in my root directory actually. And you may notice actually if you're looking at my keystrokes, my command line is even Vim. So I can come here, I can go 0, I can jump word, I can DD the whole thing. So my whole terminal is what's called Vim mode. But let's see, it'll Vim. I think it's in. Did they move the Idea of Vim, or is it still here? Yeah, it's still there. Okay, cool. I hardly open this thing anymore. All right, so the secret. So you know, Idea Vim does a really good one-for-one sort of mapping of Idea Vim in a vimrc file. I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, I just copied my vimrc file, named it to Idea Vim RC, and everything worked." I didn't do that, but supposedly you can. So I have a lot of mappings here, but there's something weird about a lot of these mappings. You might notice it has this action command.
Yeah.
This is the key if you're not aware of it. The action command in PhpStorm opens up just a treasure chest of everything you can do. Basically, everything you can do, as far as I know, everything you can do through like the menus. Where are the menus at now? They're over here. Everything you can do in these menus will have an action associated to them. So you just fire up, and you can even do it from here. You can say action new file, right? New file. So if you really wanted to, like, long form it, you can do that. And it'll create it.
Oh wow.
Test PHP, boom, and creates that new file for you, right? So that's the thing. But because I have it mapped now to leader NF, oh, here's that HUD too. If I hit HUD, boom, I get all my the same kind of heads up. So the mapping was NF, so you can see N is actually more stuff. The HUD goes away after a while. So if I just do NF, I have the same thing. Test go.php, right? So again, my hands don't have to leave the keyboard. Life is good for me. I'm happy with that. Let me see. So the action thing. So I think I even have a list of actions I keep. Actions. PhpStorm action list. Here you go. Wait till you see how long this list is. This list just goes on and on and on and on. So essentially, if you want to do something, typically what I do is I'll look it up. I'll look it up in the menu and see what it's called, like toggle case. Don't do toggle's a great one because there's like a ton of toggles. But I'll do case and then just do next. Didn't work. Let's try toggle case. Toggle case. I think I might have to escape that. Toggle case. And toggle case is, of course, one of the ones that's not in here. But I mean, you kind of get the idea, right? You go, here's all the Git stuff, right? Git. Now I cheat a little bit with Git because honestly, I don't use Git in Storm a whole lot. I'm pretty kind of known for not doing that. I'm a huge lazy Git person, so I just have lazy Git. I'll just pop over to a terminal, or I'll even open up the terminal in PhpStorm and just fire up lazy Git. Just because I know, again, it's key bindings. I know all the key bindings, but when I do want to actually do it in Storm, I have something, a very, I don't know, unconventional Vim setup where I pull up one of these quick menus, and this is my quick menu of a custom quick menu I made of things I reach for a lot that I don't feel like having separate Vim bindings for. So I'll come up here and I'll do like all my Git stuff up here, or terminal, or breakpoints for debugging. Yeah, I mean, you kind of get the point. So I make use of this quick list pretty frequently, especially when I'm going to like distract, like the different. I'll go into full screen mode or Zen mode, and that's just me being lazy, not wanting to learn the PhpStorm bindings, right? Because PhpStorm has pretty much key bindings for everything, and the things that it doesn't have key bindings for, you can create. You can do remap things, and I've done that for a couple things where I trick PhpStorm to adhere to my Vim bindings.
Yeah, I've done a few of those.
Yeah,
like jump in between splits and open up the project file and open up the terminal. I've changed all those to what I used in my NeoVim setup.
Oh, jump in between splits. That's a good example. So
yeah,
I don't know how I have that set up. Let me see. Is it over here? Split. Window split vertically. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think you're right though. I think I must have done that in the key mappings as well. This is another one I love. Every time I do a search and I hit next, it nexes, and then ZZ is what puts the cursor in the middle of the screen. I love that. Yeah, I must do the same thing. So if I come over here, so the splits, for example, like that, split, and then you just do the control up and down, right? Is that all you do?
Yeah, I use control up and down. Or I generally split the other way. So I'm going left and right.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. So you typically do it like this.
Yeah.
You jump back and forth. Yeah, that's the same. That's the same I have over here as well.
So the jumping between splits I did in PhpStorm. I didn't do that in the. One of the things that stumped me to begin with was because I followed Jess Archer's course. All my files are in Lua.
That's good.
It's different. So I was looking at it and thinking, okay, now how do I do it for just normal Vim?
That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. Actually,
that took a little while to get my. Okay, now hang on. That's why that doesn't work, because that's not the right language. Because I just copied and pasted some Lua in. I'm like, well, why does it not work? Oh, that's why.
Yeah. That's a great point. I forget about that because you're right, and I have to do it the reverse way as well. It's like, all right, I remember how I did this in my vimrc file. How do I do it in a Lua file? It was one of the things that it's one of the things that has made me hesitate moving to NeoVim, even though you could just pull over your vimrc file, which I did initially. And everybody kept saying, "Oh yeah, you create these Lua files." I'm like, "Why? Why create a Lua file? You already have your vimrc file. Just do it that way. Then you can port back if you ever want to go backwards." But eventually, I broke down, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's a real. This might be the grumpy old Vim person in me, but I don't know if there's a huge benefit. The only thing about it is Lua. It seems like it's easier language to learn, so like if you do want to really start tricking things out, and I do notice that the Lua code that I do have that I've pulled in from other people, it's way easier for me to read. Like I can kind of look at and understand and say, okay, I see what they're doing here. So yeah, that's the big thing. But like I said, the action, I just can't stress to you enough, this action command, you can see how many of my key bindings actually use the action command. It's just so common for me. This is just that HUD stuff you saw with the which key. So what problem do you think you? Because I mean, really, that's it for me. See, here's the problem for me. I've done this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know what to explain to people because it's like this just seems like normal. Like, what about what I'm doing doesn't seem normal to you? I mean, I'm not asking you specifically. It's just like when I talk to other people, I'm like, this is just how you do it. Like, why? How else would you do this? I got on a call. I did a one of the North Meets South podcasts with Michael Dorinda and Jacob Bennett,
Yeah.
and it was great because Jake, he's a big PhpStorm person, but not a big Vim person.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything I would show, he was like, "Oh yeah, you can do here are the key bindings for that with PhpStorm," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You know, you do have
Mm-hmm.
key bindings, and it's just like." The thing I expressed there, and the thing I still kind of stand behind, is that with the power of Vim bindings is that leader key, right? The leader key is
Mm-hmm.
what cuts down on what I call the finger aerobics you have to do without a leader key. So with a lot of the bindings in the native
Mm-hmm.
PhpStorm, it's usually like, oh yeah, hit Shift, Control, comma, or something like that. It's like I don't want to hit
Yeah.
that many buttons. You know, I want to be a
Mm-hmm.
smooth flow for me.
Yeah, that's why I changed quite a few on sort of the first time I loaded up last week. Things like opening up the settings panel seemed to be that I had to do the splits with one hand and cross fingers with the other hand, trying to hit trying to hit the right keys to open. I'm like, can I not just do Control S and just open up? Because I use, if I've got the Vim bindings, I'm saving with W and possibly WA, which is what I'm so used to. I don't use Control S to save anything anymore.
Yeah.
So I would use Control S to open settings. Can I not? And that's where it stemmed from. I started changing things that I thought, okay, I'm probably going to use this. I was watching. It was another Laracast set of videos about PhpStorm. I think it's fairly new course that they've just put out. And he was going through a few things on how he sets up his. And I'm thinking that's just too many buttons to press to open that panel. Let's change that. Because and then I look at what they're actually mapped to, and I'm going, I'm never going to use it for that. I don't even think I'll ever use those. If I do, I'll think of a different key binding for it. But to see that I might be able to use a bit more like using the leader key. That episode you mentioned, I did listen to that, and they did a series of videos on Vim, which I listened to them do, which got me fired up about Vim as well. So that's one of the reasons why I did switch over. But the one thing I noticed, I think I might be wrong, you had the project window open in PhpStorm, and I think were you using key bindings to move up and down the directories?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah. That's something I'm missing.
That plugin is called Nerd. Oh wait, no. Actually, I don't think it's a plugin. I think it's part of the base install now. Let me double check real fast. Hold on.
Well, if I try and use the Vim Navigation in the setup I've got now, it just starts searching. It automatically, if you just type a key in at the moment, it's as if you're searching for a file or a folder.
Right. So honestly, I don't. So I'll show you a few things, and then I'll get back to your example.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, you were talking about saving the file. I actually have a mapping here, so every time I hit the enter key, it not only does it save the file, but it reformats my code properly and then writes it, because I'm so goddamn lazy that I don't want to think about it.
Well, I suppose that's one way of making sure you're saving regularly.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, like every time I'm in normal mode, so you have to be in normal mode. You understand?
Right.
I guess I should have asked. You're fairly familiar with Vim. Have you been using it for a while, or you're still like in the learning stages?
No, I've been. We did talk about that a minute ago. I've been using it for about a year.
Okay.
So
Sorry about that.
whenever Jess brought out her video course was when I really got into it. So I think
She
that's
has
about a
got
year.
to be one of the smartest people in the community. I
Mm,
love her work. Everything she puts out is always so clean and it's easy to approach.
yeah.
I really enjoy her style of just doing things like tutorials and things like that.
hmm Previously, I'd watched a few tutorials and just got lost within like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying anymore, and that's not helpful to me. And then when I saw hers come up and I started watching hers, every single video just clicked, and I don't know whether it's the language she used or the way she broke it down in different videos, but something just worked, and I went, I
Yeah.
understand now. I understand all this.
I I had watched the first couple of videos
Mhm.
and I think I talked about it on the show.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch the whole series because I just can't watch another "This is how you use Vim" series. It just didn't interest me. And I ended up on Laracast one day, and I just took a brief peek at where the series was, like how many videos
Mhm.
there were. There were a ton, first
Yeah.
off. And then I'm like, "Hey, what is this one?" And then, I forget specifically what it was, but I clicked on it and it was like, again, something that's the thing about this, like, you will always learn new things, like, whether it's a binding somebody has or just a
Mhm.
workflow that they have. So I ended up going back and watching a few of the videos. I'm like, "Alright, that's cool, that's cool." Including tmux. I changed my tmux
Yeah.
configuration after watching some of her videos, and yeah, great series, great series.
I started
Um
using Tmux because of her videos. I'd
Oh,
never
yeah.
used it before, and I've started using it now. Also, the way that she does the dot files as well. So
I must not have watched that one. What does she do with her
so
file?
she's just got a script within the file that replaces all the dot files where they are and puts a symlink in. So every time you add a new one, you just run that script and it just loads everything, or you
Oh,
pull it down from
interesting.
another, and then for if you, so I've got the two computer. I work from home and I go into the office like a couple of times a week. So whenever I make a change at one of them, I can push it up and then I can put it down. But if I add a new dot file to that configuration, when I go to the next computer, I just have to run that script and it does it all for me.
Oh, interesting. So I use an app, that's are you a Mac or a Linux person?
I'm Linux. I'm a Pop OS
Pop!
guy
Okay,
because
so
of you.
oh, really?
Yeah,
You
you've
hear that,
got
System 76? You need to sponsor, PHP Tech. We bring people to you. There's a app that I use called Stow,
Mhm.
STOW, which sounds like it's basically the same thing. So if I can show
Yeah,
you,
I actually used Stowe to begin
th-
with until I started going through that video course, and I just felt the way she does it just felt a little bit easier for me. So that's why I switched over and stopped using Stowe. But yeah, I was using Stowe.
so the thing about Stow is that it this is a perfect example right here. All my NVim configurations that I go through, right? These are all different NVim configurations that I use. You can see Jess is here as well.
Yeah.
It allows me to swap out my setup without
hmm
losing a previous configuration. So I can create
Oh.
these separate configurations and say, okay, here's my new one that I'm working on. Let me try this one, and then I'll run Stow. And it's just like you said, it's
hmm
just a sim link back
Yeah.
to this is in my Dropbox. So it's wherever I sync my Dropbox, all those systems will have it.
hmm
Um, so yeah, Stow is great. It sounds like it does the same thing that Jess's script is probably doing.
Yeah, I think the script just deletes the dot file and then creates a new one with a symlink to the one that you have in your folder, your dot files folder.
Right. All right. So let's talk about file navigation because
Yes.
you had brought that up. If so, there's always the space E, right? The the nerd tree classic file navigation system.
Yeah.
I don't actually use that a whole lot. Uh, I Actually, let's go ahead and close that. Let's just close that. I'll use in NeoVim proper. I just use what's called telescope and do telescope and
I have that as well. I have both. I use both.
right. So over in PhpStorm, again, space key in brings it up for me. For me though, Vim plugin just allows me to navigate this. So
yeah,
I don't.
so if I was to do that, it would start searching. I do have a project open, so well, I've got to remember which open projects. What was that again? What have I got that to? So yeah, so if I've got that open now to the side, I'm pressing J and it's just searching now for a file or folder with J in it. So it's not navigating up and down for me. I'm still having to use the arrow keys.
I wonder if that is one of those things where you have to tell it. You have to you know how sometimes it says, "Hey, you hit a Vim key binding that's also used in PhpStorm. Which one do you want to use?" I remember seeing a lot of that when I first started using it.
Yeah,
I
I'm getting
assume
a
it's
lot
still
of
like that. I wonder if that's something you have to configure.
I can't remember where that is now.
Yeah, I can't either. Let's just go to settings. Settings.
It's in settings somewhere.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Now I have to
Tools.
There was something. Setting.
No.
Down here in other. You need a cheat. Brackets.
It's in editor.
Editor?
Editor, yeah, and then Vim.
Okay.
So, most of these just control and a letter or a key, another key.
Yeah, I don't see it in here. In fact, yeah, I don't see any nerd tree stuff in here.
No.
Let's go to the plugin. Maybe the plugin will tell us plugins.
Because that's definitely something I miss. Is jumping into that and then going up and down the files and things because I'm looking for something but I'm not sure exactly where it is or what it's called.
Yeah.
Or
Let's
I
go
might
to
be
plugin. How do you configure this? Yeah, let me pull this over so you can see it. New window. Get over here. It's been so long. I don't think I did anything special, but I may have. There's no. Of course, there's no documentation or anything. Yeah, let's just try this. Let's do an idea Vim nerd tree because it's a nerd tree emulator. I know is what they're using. Nerd tree support. Here we go. Wiki. Here's the nerd tree support. Oh, maybe I did map it. If I was in a single click. Set nerd tree. Oh, that must be it. I must have set nerd tree in here.
Ah, right. Okay, yeah.
Let me see. Nerd tree. No, that's just my bindings. Set nerd tree. There you go. So in your idea of Vim RC, you need a set nerd tree.
It's all captioned.
Hopefully that does it for you. You can give it a shot. So you know you have to source either relaunch PhpStorm or do a :so and wherever your idea of Vim RC is.
Oh, come on.
So nerd tree, that's a good one. Let me make a note of that.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest one that I've missed when I did the jump last week. Oh, what's going on? Right.
File navigation with nerd tree. What was it? It was set nerd tree and idea
there.
All right, that's good. Cool. Good catch on that one. I think easy motion is another one I enabled. Like I said, a lot of these I don't even remember how to use them anymore. My famous relative numbers that drive Tom absolutely bonkers. Are you a relative numbers person? Or are you
I'm a relative numbers person. I laugh a lot when you guys have an argument about that.
I understand their frustration because I'm a fidgeter. So like when somebody's helping me with something, a lot of times I'll fidget like this, and they're like, "Oh yeah, go to line 7, 8, 7, 8, 8, 7, 7." So it's a behavior I need to be aware of and know. Okay, stop hitting my key so they can tell me where they want me to go, and line up. Well, I'm horrible with that.
Right, we've reopened, although my screens, I think I've hit a key that I shouldn't have done, and my screens are playing up a little bit.
How you like Pop? How long have you been on Pop?
3 years, 4 years.
Yeah,
I think. About 3.5 years, I think. So I've only been. I don't know if you remember. I've only been a developer for almost 3 years now.
Okay.
So before then, I worked in a secondary school or high school as a theatre technician, looking after lighting and sound equipment.
Oh, cool.
And I was dabbling a little bit in sort of the network, helping the network team out. And they got wind that I was interested in sort of web development, and I'd been sort of teaching myself a little bit of C# back then. And I was asked to look after the intranet because no one else wanted to. And I started developing new bits to add to it, maintaining the code. So then the bug I got bit by the bug back then.
I tell you, it's easy to get like wrapped up in. There's just not only is there so much to learn, but it's always changing. And you're always learning new stuff. That's the thing I love is like no matter who I talk to, I figure I always feel like I walk away with like new knowledge, and it's just so beneficial.
Right, so that is working fine now. That is exactly brilliant. Thank you very much for that. That is one thing I was missing.
What else are you missing? Is there anything else I can help you with? Because I feel like I said, I just can't. Like, it's all so natural to me. Like, I can't think of what to talk about. Like, somebody came to me. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, teach me Vim," I'm like, "Dude, I can't teach. I don't know how to teach Vim. Like, it's beyond like." I just don't know how to teach it. I don't know what needs to be explained. It just is all very natural for me. So I'm not a good teacher of Vim for sure. I've come to realize that over the years. But I am pretty good at like, if you tell me what you need to do, maybe I can figure it out.
I think at the moment, just sort of for me, was understanding that I can pretty much do any key binding that I already use, and I can just bring that over. So there was a cool thing that we did, or Jess showed us in the tutorial, which I've got to try and find it now, which meant if you're in insert mode and you like double pressed on the comma, it would jump to the end of the line and add a comma.
Yep. I think I took that out of I took that out of PhpStorm because it wasn't working for me in PhpStorm.
Okay.
Actually, I think I have it in here. Do I have it in normal mode now? Maybe. Yeah. That's what I did. So I have it in normal mode. So if I just kept mine in. So not only does mine jump to the end and do it like it's commas and semicolons, right? So if I do double semicolon, it's going to jump to the end of the line, add a semicolon, and then come back to where I was. So if I do boom boom, so I'm back to where I was already typing. If all I needed to do was add something to the end of the line, but I'm coding in another section of the line, it would handle
Mm-hmm.
that. So let's give you a real world example, right? I take the comma out.
Yeah.
If I'm over here and I'm typing, I'm like, oh shit, I need a comma here. I would just
Mm-hmm.
go to normal mode, comma, comma, and then I can start typing again.
Oh, that's nice. So how do you go back to where your cursor originally
So
was? What's that?
let's
That
find
might be
that.
quite.
Yeah. So
It's not.
basically, what you have to do is you have to mark your spot of where you are. You perform your action, and then you tell it to jump back to that mark. So that's what these two lines are here.
Okay, so this is sort of more advanced to what. So
Oh
it's
shit! Sorry
jumping.
about that.
That's right. Marking and things like that. That's not something I do at all at the moment.
Honestly, I just do. I don't do it on the regular. I know people who do, and they're just so smooth about how they move around.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. It never occurs to me to do that, but I do think about doing it when I'm doing my key mappings because it's just like, okay, so that's all this does is it doesn't escape just to make sure I'm where I need to be. It doesn't escape. It does mark XA, so it says, hey, this is
Yeah.
A here, and then yeah.
Now, does it not mark and use X as
It's
the play
yeah,
like the
mark
reference?
X, and
Yeah.
then uppercase A jumps to
Yeah.
the end of the line,
End of the line. Puts in
as the
the
semicolon, and then it escapes again, and then
and
this
then
pick
goes.
X jumps back. That's all it does.
Oh, I like that. I'll have to try
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember I was having issues with her mapping in PhpStorm. It worked fine in in, in NeoVim, but in PhpStorm, I forget what happened. There was something weird about it that I'm like, oh, I don't like that. That didn't work the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
So then I end up doing this, where I'm like, okay, this is cool. Now I'm back to where I want to work. So yeah, it should be the same as hers. The only thing you have to add is the MX and then the additional escape to jump back.
Yeah. Yeah, hers is just the escape, uppercase A, and then whichever semicolon or. And I quite like that because, especially when you type in something within a brackets, and
Exactly.
it's just so
Yeah.
much easier to jump then get out of those brackets,
Yeah.
there's no because it's on the insert. It doesn't escape insert mode, so you're still in insert mode, but you're at the end of the line. So I can just hit enter and then carry on with what I was doing on the next line. So it's I think some it's more of exploring or understanding some of the powers of Vim, because there's a lot of things that people do in Vim and I don't know how they do it. I think you talked about one with numbers, just being able to hit one if you want to increment up or down a number.
Oh,
You
dude.
talked about that it just popped into my head. I think you said that in that North Meets South episode.
Right.
And it's like,
So
that
yeah.
sounds like the amount of times I do, because I'm using Tailwind a lot as well these days. So like the amount of times I just want to increment one of the numbers, and I'm using replace, just hitting R and then the number I want to change to. But if I want to go up and down one,
Right. So you know how to do it now, or
no, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've never got around to looking it up yet.
So if you have a number here, let me put it up here at the top. So if you have a number, right?
Yeah.
In PhpStorm, it's very simple. It's Control A for up and Control X for down. A for up and X for down. So
Right.
in this like however big the number is, it figures that part out. Now that might not be what you want, but it's how it acts.
Yeah.
Right. So it
Oh
says,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
1,000, right? And same thing with down, right? Over in NeoVim, if you're I don't know, it depends on how you're using tmux. So for me, Control A is my my it's not called a leader in tmux. What's it called again? The Control A is how I get into like command mode in tmux. So like if I want to create a Control A J to list all my open terminal sessions or something. So obviously Control A by itself doesn't do anything in tmux. So I had to remap that to be, or no, it's not even a remap. You just do AA, and then it works. And then X just works as X works. I don't know if it does. Yeah, it even does negative numbers. So yeah, and once you do the first AA, it just kind of sticks with it. So that's only caveat with using tmux. Oh, for me, again, your mappings might be different, but mine is Control A. So yeah, for me that's the only difference. But yeah, it's very simple. Control A, Control X goes up and down.
Okay.
And that's just built in. There's no mappings for that or anything. That's just basic Vim stuff. Yeah. The other one I've gotten, like I said, I've tried a lot of the plugins in NeoVim and in PhpStorm on how to jump around the code base, like especially horizontally, where like I don't, I'm still like a word back guy. I've started using, and then again, this is basic Vim stuff. Is like I'll do an FA, and then it's colon, or no, it's the tick for the next A. So you can do like F for find the letter you're looking to find, and then you can start scrolling through it with the ticks.
Yeah, I should start using things like that. I still go H and L. I don't even use word and back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of that
too.
Because, like I said, I'm a fidgeter, so I mean, I like hitting the keys.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, no shame to that game. I mean, really, if that's how you do it, that's how you do it. I've been trying to get more efficient just to have fewer keystrokes. Yeah, that's the one I'm kind of like working on myself. There are plugins. Like I think there's the colon and no, there's a plugin somewhere that's sneak plugin that you like type in a key combination and you type in the letter and it lights up all the letters that's below the cursor that match that letter and then gives you another letter next to it to jump to. And like I said, I've used it in PhpStorm and I've used it in Vim, and I always forget to use it. I think it's that sneaker plugin or something. Let me take a look here. Plugins again. And then it's called Sneak. I think it's this guy. But I always forget what the here we go. Is a short like F. So use S plus the two characters are S. So it's just S. So let me see if that works. SK. Oh, well, that wasn't an S. SK. Yeah, I don't think I have it enabled anymore. I just gave up on it. I thought I had one up here. Oh no, it's enabled. Yeah, see, I don't even know how to use it anymore. It's just I just don't. It's not something I use. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I'd have to look at the plugin again. It's kind of cool if you can kind of get the hang of it.
Yeah.
But then I end up stop using it, and then I forget how to use it, and yeah, go to homepage. I hate these little readmes here. Oh, is there anything else I can help you with? Like, you give me some ideas of things to talk about, man.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, just seeing, as I say, just seeing how versatile it is, and you can pretty much bring out over anything you have in Vim over to PhpStorm. Was helpful in just seeing some of the stuff and how it works. So that's been very helpful to me. I'll just keep playing and adding to it, and as I go to reach for something I was using in NeoVim, if I find it's missing, I'll try and work out how to implement it.
Yeah. See, I misunderstood the sneak one too. This isn't even the one I was thinking of. This is actually pretty cool. So where I did like FJ for what does it do? F uppercase J. I guess with sneak. So let's say I want to come down to not here, and I'm up here. I can do S, and it requires 2 letters. That's S and O. Oh, there's an S and O there. So can I keep cycling? Oh, I can keep cycling. It doesn't cycle through. Yeah, I don't know. I thought I just did it, but maybe I didn't. Am I? Yeah, SMA worked. Huh? That's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to use this, and I again probably won't use it, and I'll forget tomorrow how to do it. But there's one that you like hit a key combination and it lights up all the letters, and it's kind of fun to jump around with. But I always forget how to use those plugins because I just don't do it enough. Yeah, man. All right. Well, I need more material. I need to think of something else to show people. I just don't know what. I mean, I guess I can talk about relative line numbers as well, and the benefit of that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I quite like that, to be able to jump up and down.
Yeah. See, it's so like mundane to me. Like, none of this stuff is really that exciting. Yeah, I don't know. This is one.
Yeah, just talking about how you set some of this stuff up. So, for example, like the set nerd tree, I had no idea that I needed to do that. I didn't see any of that in any documentation or examples I was reading. So I didn't know that I needed to turn that function on,
right,
by putting set nerd tree, which is now done, and it works. So I like that.
And like I said, look at this action list, and you can actually get this action list by just typing in. I think it's just action lists.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. I got it over here. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, it's all one word. That's what it is. It's an action list. Nope. You have to spell it right. It helps if you spell things correctly. There you go. And of course, Vim doesn't work in this. So you have to reach for your mouse like an animal and scroll through stuff. That's why I ended up just copying the whole thing and putting it in another file that I can search and on. But yeah, just about everything you do. And not only does it show you everything you can do, but if there are key combinations to it, it shows you those key combinations as well. It's a great list to just have handy, and it's crazy when you learn about everything you can do an action on. Is just bonkers. So yeah, action. Oh, so like buffers. That's how I do. That's how I simulate all my buffers in NeoVim. You have, and PhpStorm. You have buffers in NeoVim, right?
Yeah.
So in PhpStorm, I just have a bunch of mappings to it. Wait, how did I get out of this now? Jesus. Quit? Hello? Leave? Q. I hit Q. Q. It's saying Q should quit it. Q. Oh, there we go. Wow.
I don't know if it's your end or my end, but your screen and your video is frozen. But I think my video has been jumping for a little while, so I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, so I can't actually see what you're doing now.
Oh yeah, I don't think I don't even think the desktop's updating. Well, that's not good.
Yeah, something's happened.
How long has it been like that?
Only a few minutes. I think I don't know how long my video's been jumping around because I've not been focusing on my own face. I don't really look at myself.
Oh yeah. For me, the little browsers even say, "Hey, this seems to hung up. Maybe I stop sharing. Stop sharing."
Funny, the timer's still going. I can see that. What's happened to this window? Why is it so small?
Yeah, mine's not. My time isn't even going anymore. I might have to bounce out and come back.
Yeah, I've got a timer still ticking over.
Actually, you know what? I keep telling Tom this RAM box is killing me. Let me kill this.
That's interesting. I use Rambox.
Do you?
Yeah, I quite like it. But why is all that happening?
Yeah, that didn't help.
Oh, okay. I think that is. Something's happened to my display.
Wow, this is so weird because like none of this is running local. This is all on Restream. I don't get why this happens. All right, I'm going to exit and come back and see if it fixes it. If I lose you, I'll hit you up in Discord.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
All right. Okay, I'm moving.
Oh,
You're moving too.
yeah. I'm still a bit. I think there's a bit of a lag. I don't know if it's because of location.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier too. A little bit of a lag. Um,
But it's a bit smooth in there. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I mean that's what I have. I guess if you can think of anything else, just hit me up.
Yeah, we'll do. Anything I can think of, I'll message. I mean, I haven't done a lot of customization to Vim. I've only really done what I don't even think I use half the stuff that Jess taught. So I've got it's all in the Lua files, but I don't use it because I don't remember to use it. I forget that there's things there. So, for example, I think there was a video on refactoring, and I don't use any of that. I still, if I change something, I'll then go around and change the file names and do it all manually. So that's another thing that I want to delve into with PhpStorm and just get a good idea how that sort of stuff works. Jumping around different files, looking at like the definition of a method, being able to see that, or going to any implementations of a method, those sorts of things, jumping around a bit more. The code base is probably the next step for me that I need to start getting my head around and learning.
Yeah. The refactoring stuff is pretty good. The only thing I think my refactoring though is just isn't that just alt enter, right? Isn't that what that is? I think that's all I use, honestly, is alt enter. Yeah. Oh, that's not refactoring. That's the PhpStorm kind of a suggestion menu thing where it gives you little squiggly lines and says, "Oh yeah, maybe not use this outdated approach and use a better approach." Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, I think I have mappings for refactoring too. I couldn't tell you what they.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a quick look here. I know I'm not sharing with you again. If I have something good, I'll share with you. Refactor. Oh, I actually have a refactor pop-up action. The same way I have that GitHub one. It says leader RT.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's an action. Oh yeah. So this is actually what I do. I'll share it with you in Discord.
Cool.
Oh shit! Discord was running on Boombox. Let me fire up Discord again. And I'll put it on the screen for people if we do publish this for people to see. So much like my Git stuff, I cheat, and that's what I have right there. Again, it's an action that you can use. Let me throw that up on screen here in case anybody is looking at this. Captions, add, add. Okay, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. All right. So if you're watching, I guess I should take it doesn't do carriage returns apparently. Let me take that out. thought there was a way I could do it, make it larger. All right. So that's, if you're watching the video, that's the mapping I have for PhpStorm to kind of pull up the quick list pop-up for refactoring stuff in your code base. Another cheat of mine that I like to use. But yeah,
I'll definitely have to play around with these quick actions and some of these, the actions and quick pop-ups.
Yeah. Those are things I reach for. Whatever I don't use on a regular basis, but things I do use, I will usually cheat and throw it in a quick pop-up, a quick action pop-up. But like, again, the Git stuff, I do have key bindings for. I do have mappings for those. I just don't use Git in Storm.
Yeah, I use a GUI, which probably get told off for cheating using that.
Yeah.
But I've just used one for quite some time, so it's just I'll just jump over to that to do any Git stuff. Because I'm the only where I work, I'm the only web developer. I'm not like putting merge requests in and things like that. I'm just merging stuff myself.
Right.
Because there's no one there to check my code before I put it into master. So I'll put it in master and they go.
Exactly. It's just push, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's quickly backtrack there. That didn't work.
All right. Cool, man. Well, what time is it for you? Is it late?
It is 25 to 8. So
not bad.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, my friend. Thanks again for hanging out with me today.
No problem. Anytime. I've really enjoyed it as well.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.